You also have experience with the Central Ohio Human Trafficking Task Force. This seems to be a growing problem, and from my understanding, it is something that is only more difficult because of online access. There's a lot of in-person tactics that traffickers use, not just online. That also causes harm. Can you explain what you can do as sheriff to help Perry-Countians with this issue?
That's a great question. As sheriff, I think in this county, the biggest thing, and I'm going to go back to the education aspect of it. Let's educate our people, our citizens, on uh, what human trafficking is, first of all. And it's not exactly what we might see on TV or what we might read here or there. Um, it's not something the vast majority of how perpetrators of this operate. It's not like you're going to go with your family to the mall and your son or daughter is going to go into the bathroom and be kidnapped and you'll never see him again. That happens, but it's few and far between. The predators of this criminal activity prey on the marginalized. So you have somebody that is comes from a broken family that's not um, being looked after. They fall into isolation or a wrong group of people and are now fall prey to drug traffickers, right? So you
Mhm.
have they fall into that and become addicted to drugs and then become even more vulnerable. So now a lot of times uh, people that are victims of human trafficking are addicted to drugs and stay in that lifestyle because of the drugs. They need to get the drugs that are supplied by the people that perpetrate that
Mhm.
um, slavery on them, which
Right.
is what it is.
Is it like they need their fix drug? So what they'll do is they'll participate in some of the trafficking to gain access to those drugs or to get money. Is that
That's exact that what you said first is exactly what happens.
I would just imagine it would be that's how it works, but
You the right
mhm.
and that perpetrator pimp
Mhm.
knows that the person that they're in charge of needs that fix.
Right.
So they're going to hold that from them until they do exactly what they want them to do. It could be
That makes
anything.
sense.
They could have them rob somebody. They can have them steal something from a store. They could sell their body,
Right.
whatever it is. So it's a vicious cycle. I think that and the drugs also is something. It self medicates. It takes that person outside of reality,
Right.
gives them peace for just that brief moment,
Mhm.
the respite from the life that they're in, that they're more than likely miserable in, and they see no way out. So that's what's so rewarding about being in that line of work. And I folk that's what I wanted to do when I left special victims. I went to narcotics. I went to the vice squad there because I knew that's where, at the time, they were pulling agents from the vice units to work the human trafficking.
Mhm.
So it was you got selected. So I knew if I went to vice, I was the opportunity presented itself to go there. I was seniority based, and I knew if I did well there, if I really worked hard, that I could apply for human trafficking when there was an opening there, and they could look at my body of work and my career, interview me, and then go through the process. And that would give me the opportunity to work human trafficking. That's what I wanted to do.
Right.
So and it worked out for me. I went there, and there was an opening. I was in Vice for 2 years, and there was an opening. I interviewed with some other great guys, and was fortunate enough to be selected for it. So I went there and really learned a lot, and it was very rewarding because when I went there, there was the guys that were there did it for they were the training was fantastic,
Mhm.
and their experience was just experience is so it's invaluable.
Well, experience is just training, but in reality,
Right,
you know.
right. It's practical application of your training, right?
Yeah.
And so just learning from them. And I remember we were downtown. We got a group of girls were saved from this, their pimps, their perpetrators of the trafficking. And you take them down to the Children's Advocacy Center for forensic interviews. They're interviewed by uh, a special group of people that are specifically trained to interview people. In their interview, the information that is extracted from that interview can be used as testimony, right? Because the questions are not asked in a leading way,
Right.
right? So they're specially trained for that. It's a fantastic group of people. There's prosecutors, uh, doctors, nurses, sane nurses, your sexual abuse nurses. They're your social workers and your detectives all get together for these interviews. And then after that, there's a forensic exam as well,
Mm-hmm.
physical exam. So we take these group down there. They're all taken care of, and then after that, the social workers come in and uh, the safety plan is put in effect for these victims,
Right.
right? And now the process of healing begins. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome, right?
Right.
And so we walk. There's a Tim Hortons right there in the corner, and we walk in there for a cup of coffee. We didn't get a donut, so I'm saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And a girl there walked up to my partner
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Hey, how you doing?" So, and that was a girl that was even trafficked before,
Oh
and now
wow.
she's thriving. She's doing better.
Hmm.
Right?
That's great.
Thank you for what you did.
Yeah.
A hug, a high five, and I'm like, man, that's bad. That's cool. That's what I want.
And I'm sure that rarely happens where you actually meet a person who's gone through it and came out in better circumstances.
Right, right. That's the goal of everything,
And
right?
what a
That's
reward that must be for her,
it.
the officer, to see some of the work come back and say thank you kind of a thing.
That's why you do it.
Yeah.
That's why you do it, and it's hard. It's hard work.
Hmm.
RICO cases are hard. They're very meticulous. I mean, you're running. It parallels white collar crime. So you're looking at data of, say, financial records of people that travel all over the region, not just the state,
Hmm.
and you're following credit card transactions and hotel folios and all these things. It's not easy work. And then you're doing the undercover work where you go in and you're actually making buys where you're buying people,
Hmm.
right? So you have to set, your mindset has to go from um, sitting in an office looking at computers or listening to jailhouse calls